Hey, so I haven't done one of these real talk videos in a while, and now I'm doing one while I'm polishing my nails. It's not because I've had a lack of topics, it's because I have not felt presentable in front of a camera, which makes perfect sense that I'm doing it now when I'm sweaty and gross after my workout. But I wanted to talk about these two topics. It's really one topic, but I'm giving you a new idea to keep in mind for your health and fitness journey, wrapped inside a very counterintuitive, idea. So surprise, surprise. All right, here's a counterintuitive idea. If you were to take, someone who is very obese or has some sort of health condition that's diagnosed, or you take a person who is not overweight, relatively healthy, which person would we normally say needs exercise the most, right? Normally we would say it's the obese person, of course, or the overweight person, or the person who needs to work on their high cholesterol or high blood pressure. They need exercise more than the person who is not overweight, relatively healthy. But the counterintuitive idea is that it's actually the people who are not overweight, who are relatively healthy, even relatively active, who do not have any red flags with a health condition. They're the ones that need exercise the most. Okay, I'll explain this by talking about the group that is obese or has a health condition. In those cases, there's usually more options outside of exercise or before exercise or on the way to, pave the way for exercise for them to make a difference or progress, right? So if you're very obese, there's a lot of things that you could do in the change of a diet that would help toward the same goal of dropping the excess weight. Or it could be supplements, also, a lot of times you're limited, right, in the number or the type of exercises that you could do, but that's fine because there's just so many other things that we could do in order for, again, the same health outcomes, right? So a lot of times high blood pressure is also due to stress, for example. Whatever. Okay, so you get the point, right? The bigger the problems or the more multitude of problems, the more options we have to address those problems, okay? Now, when it comes to the people who are not overweight and who are relatively healthy, I mean, they're cleared, right? They're cleared for any sort of exercise regime, basically. They don't have things to, hurdles to get over first, okay? This group needs exercise more than the other group. So the reason for this is because this group is the one that can create a health reserve. Now, before I talk about the health reserve or the health and physical reserve, let's discuss what is considered like the minimum amount of exercise, and then we'll compare that to what would actually be a exercise regimen. But the minimum recommended exercise right now by the CDC is simply 150 minutes a week plus 2 strength sessions, okay, for an adult. So the 150 minutes a week of, moderate activity. So the 150 minutes a week is relatively straightforward because you could, break it up into however many minutes and sessions you want. The moderate activity takes a little bit of a nuance to talk about, as does the strength session. The moderate activity, the best way to look at this is by looking at your RPE, your rate of perceived exertion scale, from a 1 to 10 to keep it simple. And your moderate activity will fall somewhere around 5 and 6, okay? And then the strength sessions will hopefully be also cause an exertion, not only a muscle mass maintenance or increase, but the the RPE of 6, 7, 8, 9 is where I would want to see people at during the exercise sessions. And then of course the strength sessions will vary greatly, whether it's separate, what it is that you do, or how it's incorporated inside the other workouts. So the exercise regimen is a lot more detailed and nuanced, and has to do with working with trainers or working with a program. Whereas, right now we just want to worry about hitting the 150 minutes of moderate activity and doing something for strength. Now, if you actually just do what you can to train towards a muscle-centric fitness regime, you will most likely cover all of the other areas, which would be, again, it does take some skills, but it would include your cardio conditioning, your lung capacity, your joints, and your mobility. It would consider and capture a lot more of the types of workouts and movements. But if you are relatively healthy, you have the luxury of being able to do this wide variety and capture all of those. I'm just saying, the act of actually putting it together inside of a fitness regimen that you could do week to week is a whole different story. But anyway, okay. The healthier people stand to benefit from exercise more and using that guideline because they're able to create this health reserve. So you have the benefits of the immediate benefits, right, of working out day to day, week to week, but then you're creating this health reserve, especially by doing muscle-centric workouts. Now, think of the health reserve, the health and physical reserve, as being analogous to your, what we would call a reserve in finances. So your financial reserve is for the emergency, it's for retirement, it's for the unknown, it's the, rainy day fund. So, in finances, your emergency would be, something breaks or some disaster happens that costs money. Or you're going to retire, and so you need a savings. For the health and physical reserve, same idea. Your retirement in health and physical, will be your natural age decline, right? And then your emergency fund will be like if you come upon an illness or an accident, God forbid, something like that, right? But it's not uncommon, right? It's not so much a surprise if as we hit our 40s and 50s, especially, we have loved ones that get diagnosed with something, and then we are the caretakers, and that takes away, along with everything, real life, our ability to create that space for ourselves, or that time to caretake for ourselves. So it gets harder and harder down the line to create that reserve. And you cannot create that reserve when you're in the deficit, right? So the purpose of the reserve is to help you get through the deficit. And then should you not need the reserve, then you're just that much better off. Okay, so again, try to create this health and fitness reserve now, and try to focus on a muscle-centric fitness program. And don't forget that it is what's considered the non-urgent and the important, which would be your physical fitness if you're healthy, right? For the healthy population who are not exercising, this fitness regimen is probably considered important still, but not urgent, right? But it's that quadrant that needs our intentional focus more than anything else, because all the small things and big things that are going to pull our attention is going to be considered either a lot more urgent or a lot more important. But you know this. You know that your health and your fitness is your important quadrant. But if it's not urgent, you have to be really intentional about treating it, right, as a high priority. So very, very lucky if you are, relatively healthy and, don't have any health issues with weight and all of that. But please think of your physical fitness reserve, okay?